Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. MadGamer.com presented to you the Movement Podcast. It's officially 7 days in since we started this journey, and basically every day I take the time to talk about what's on my mind, but more so, talk about relevant things that hopefully can help you have food for thought. This isn't the all answers podcast or I know it all podcast, not at all. This right here is an open, honest man with experience willing to share everything that he's been through and his perspective outside of himself. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that I'm pretty sure is going to touch a lot of lives if a lot of lives listen. The title of this podcast is named For the Culture. And For the Culture is a deep, deep look into some realistic aspects of life. You don't have to be exactly the stories I will be sharing. You don't have to be a part of them to be able to relate to them. In reality, when somebody shares a story with you, whether it's a parable, a metaphor, you can use it in your life in some way. Even the negative things that have affected you, you can use that as motivation, inspiration, help you dedicate yourself to evolve. With all that said, today we're talking about For the Culture. And there's a lot of meanings and purposes behind that specifically. And I'm going to go into rich, poor mentalities. I'm going to go into the logic behind them, personal experiences, and then looking to really touch people's minds to help them challenge themselves. So, we have this notion of I do it for the culture, whether it's your race, even your sex, like, oh, I'm a man, or other aspects, whether it's how you grew up, rich or poor, and things like that. There's so many things that we do it for the culture, for our experiences. So that said, this is a pretty deep and actually very, very powerful message to talk about, and it's not an easy one to address without making someone offended. And I hope I offend everybody. I don't want to leave anybody out, to be honest. I think that my message is about coming to a truer you. Okay? And what I mean by that is it's okay to not get comfortable. Like you're comfortable in your beliefs, you're comfortable in your jobs, your lifestyle, you're comfortable in your mentality, your attitude, you're comfortable in all these aspects. And that's how we want to be, right? And that's how we want to live. It's like, I just want to live comfortable. Well, guess what? Whether you're rich or poor, it's actually better that you're not as comfortable at times. And what do I mean by that? It's a lot of aspects. But the reason I bring that up is because your life is really based on that small window of what you were cultured to. So where you grew up with around you will affect you. So what I say by that is, if I'm rich and I have a mentality of I'm financially comfortable, for example, that's fine. But then a lot of times rich people take for granted what these poor people don't. So the poor people are uncomfortable, like I was trying to say. They don't have comfort to be financially comfortable, right? So they're going through things, they're appreciating every little piece of bread or whatever they're eating to survive, to pay the bills. They appreciate that a lot more. So they have a more sense of gratefulness in their life, and there's a fulfilling nature to that. And as for the rich folks, they get to live that luxury of not having to worry as much and not have to stress on the financial burdens. So these dynamics are, though they're two different aspects, they're all the same thing. Somebody gets too comfortable and then others don't. So the poor people will get comfortable in that poverty and they'll get used to it and they'll just settle in it with their mediocre job, with their mediocre lifestyle. That and it's a bad thing. We all have been comfortable in some way, shape, or form. So this isn't a shot at poor people. I have been poor, so take it easy. But the rich folks, for example, on the other end, they're financially comfortable, so they don't have to worry and they don't appreciate some things. So then now you got the other side where it's like, wow, like you're very ungrateful to live about life. So those two dynamics are very, very, very similar in the fact that we get too comfortable and we don't fight for change. And whether you're rich or you're poor, you have those issues. So doing it for the culture, like I said, we're going to talk about finance. We're going to talk about reality. Then my personal experience as a New Yorker, growing up in the ghetto, living in the projects when I was young, and just having a rough life as a kid. But I appreciate it so much more because of it. If I was rich, I probably would have been ungrateful to many things that I am grateful for now. So, all this said, we're here to talk about doing it for the culture. And like I explained, if you hang out with millionaires, which I have, they have a certain standard of how you need to be, how you need to talk, how you need to feel, and they really get uncomfortable when they see somebody out of that lane. They're like, ugh. And that's what they call bougie. But this is a good thing because they need to be cultured that though this guy might talk with some slang, he's still a human and he still has a good heart, maybe a better heart than some of the rich people that these guys know. And then vice versa, if you go into the ghetto and you bring a rich guy over there, these people will clown him and like, look at the way he's dressed, or look at the way he talks, and look at the way he acts, and oh damn, look at him, he's nervous around our dudes, he think we're gonna get robbed. So now it's a disconnect in our society because of our culture differences, and we're not educated enough to see both sides and respect both sides and say, you know what, this doesn't make us different. Now, without getting into politics or race, it's the exact same thing with politics and race. I'm a Republican. No, I'm a Democrat. No, I'm a, and you could just go down the list of different things. And with race, it's the same thing. No, I'm white. No, I'm black. No, I'm Asian. No, I'm, Latino or whatever nationality you want to label us. So with all that said, you can't sit here and say, I do it for the culture. Because there's so many cultures. So now, like, when you say that, you're talking about your specific culture, and that's cool. But now you're segregating the rest of us. So how do we, this is a society question, how do we solve the problem of our society being so segregated, so separated, if let me use an easier word, so separated because of our differences? Whether it's the way I dress or the way I talk or the music I listen to or the way I even eat can throw a lot of people off. Like, this guy's a savage, and those differences has created wars, whether it's religion, politics, greed, all of these different aspects, but they separate us. I don't care who you are, it happens. So when you do it for the culture, I'm going to get deeper into that, the real hood version of that later. But when you're doing it for the culture, your culture, and you're limiting other people, and you want to, oh, that music is tasteless. I'm listening to hip hop right now. I thought it was only right because do it for the culture came from the hip hop culture. But I listen to jazz. I listen to blues. I listen to classical music. When I was a kid, I worked internship at a nonprofit that did orchestra events, and it really cultured me outside of my New York raised street life. It cultured me to become a better person in general, just to be able to see a different world. To say the least, you see a different world and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I never knew this exists. I never knew this really was something this beautiful. You know, as a kid, you grow up in New York, so you're like, oh, classical music, that's whack. Yo, that's whack. You corny, man. And they got these slang words you want to talk and be disrespectful towards anything that's not of our culture, right? So this is what we think is cool. This is what we think is right. This is what we think is good. And we're separating, let's say separating ourselves from being able to experience other cultures and other ways of thinking and being and expanding our brains. So it's difficult. And this is a society issue. This isn't about the culture specifically, guys. This is about society. And what society does is really limits us because we do it to ourselves also. They don't help, but we don't help. So it's a dynamic that's difficult to change. Now you say, how can we fix this? We just need to culture ourselves. We need to get around. You know, like college and high school to me is a waste of years. Even the elementary and middle school years is a waste of kids' years. I think they're trying to add some things now where they have these vocational schools where kids can learn a trade. You know, my son's gonna go to IT. My daughter's gonna learn cosmetics. You know, it's just really great that they're starting to implement these things, but we need a deeper level. Kids need to understand law. They need to understand their taxes. They need to understand, you know, different classical musics, different type of music, different type of, so you have to culture them in a deeper sense. Now, what I'm saying by that is that we're not talking about like some schools do it, that's, you know, and you want to just correct me. That's true. But most of the schools, especially public schools, don't have any of this deeper level of giving the kids true life experiences. You know what I mean? Sitting them down and talking about, oh, Christopher Columbus discovered America, he's the greatest. Come on, man. He went over there and they killed thousands of Indians because of him. They took over the land by force. So, you know, these are things that's really hardcore. You don't need your kids to fully know that. Okay, cool. Learn the history. You have to know. I'm a history guy, historian, to say the least, when it comes to music. But as far as certain things, you got to take it to the next step and evolve and show society better. So you start off with the kids and you teach them about everything, not just one specific targeting. This is what happened, or this is what it is. You know, they always say the winners write history, and it's sad. So whoever wins the war writes the history of how it happened. Well, they were gonna kill us, so we killed them all. And it's not always like that, you know, just because it's written like that. So what I'm saying is, you know, it starts off with the youth. Get them a better resources so they can know what culture really is. You know, and I'll explain a story, and I hate to say the story on public, but as I'm doing this podcast, I'm going to be very open and honest with my life, and I hate to share some of this, to be honest with you, because it makes me look completely, I don't even know what word it makes me look, but I want to share some of it because it's very important to understand. So, growing up in New York City, before I was in kindergarten, I was already cursing with an attitude, you know, just a mean kid. And not everybody's like that, but that was what was embedded in me in the New York lifestyle. Growing up, hanging outside with these little rugged kids, gotta be tough or you're gonna get stomped on. So I grew up with that. By second grade, guys, at least I had a good heart about it. when I seen a bully bullying somebody, I would beat the bully up. And I'm talking about, for some reason, I had good hands at the age, well, bad hands. I don't know what to call them. Second grade, I already had good fighting hands, and I would break these kids' noses at second grade. I would hit them with elbows and just hurt these bullies, And a part of it was, of course, just being a good person, but a part of it was being taught to be a badass, you know. So that was embedded in me. Then you go down the line as years went by, and my time, I started hanging in the street, started hanging with my boys, and everybody's either in the gang or selling drugs or doing something wrong, and you're just trying to chill, but you end up involved in the ignorance. You want to hang out with a girl, so I was 13 years old smoking a blunt and talking about marijuana, and just basically wanted to hang out with a female. We all hanging out, and she want to smoke. Everybody want to smoke. Peer pressure, and I fell into it. I wasn't strong. I'll admit it. And you get into this lifestyle, right? And then what happens is the culture takes over. Let's forget about all the ignorant stuff I did, but the culture takes over. The mentality of the culture, right? What is the culture, right? I wouldn't allow, not even my friend, not my cousin. I've beaten down my cousin because he tried to smart mouth me. That's how we used to be. Everybody I hung around was one of those, don't take no from nobody. Respect everybody, but if they come at you, just knock them out before they even get a chance to say anything else, so people can know not to mess with you. Because if you give one person the freedom, everybody's going to step all over you. That was how I grew up. That was the culture that we grew up in, the mentality of New York living. So I would knock people out left and right. My cousins, you want to? I'm talking teenage years, early teenage years. You say one thing, I'm knocking them out. 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, I was knocking them out at those ages. Just anybody that would dare to disrespect, say any little comment, you got to be tough. Don't let nobody mess with you, right? Don't take no from no horse, no cow, no dog, especially no human. That was the, I don't got a bleep. If I had a bleep, I would have bleeped that. But yeah, especially no human, you ain't gonna let nobody disrespect you. That's how it was. So that's the culture that I was embedded in, right? Then comes even worse mentalities like don't ever talk to the cops. I didn't talk to cops until after 20 plus years of my life, because embedded in me, don't snitch. Cops are enemies. Cops are the worst humans in the world. Oh man, you gotta hate them guys. So that was the culture. That's what the culture taught me, because I was so deep into that world. You understand? So you're looking at all these aspects, and it continues down the line. I'm talking about, I can give you hours worth of mentality that was embedded in me at a young age from the streets. And it was such a horrible mentality, And we weren't like bad kids robbing or doing something like that. But again, it's the mentality of the streets in general. If you want to survive, if you're a nerdy kid that goes to school, comes straight home and never goes out, you still had to have a don't quit me attitude, because they will stomp on you, take your shoes, take whatever you got. You get it? So anyway, so this culture, this mentality, this process, all it does is push us away from each other. And we're losing ourselves, and we're losing who we are. And I'm talking about the hip hop culture. I'm talking about, and I don't want to blame it on hip hop, because it didn't have to be about hip hop, but hip hop is involved, and I think we have a responsibility as a culture. The hip hop culture has a responsibility to kind of educate. So, basically, that culture really changes who you are, how you react. And it's a bad mentality. And I can't blame on hip hop, because hip hop has taught me a lot of beautiful things as well. I'm a man of honor because of hip hop. I'm a man of integrity who shows respect because of hip hop. But again, the mentality of that, and don't get it twisted. There's a lot of mentalities from rich folks or other type of cultures that feel the same way and act the same way. It's not a hip hop thing. You can go down to the country side world of country music people who, I don't take no from nobody. You can't call them hip hop culture. That's country. But that mentality, it all comes with the territories, right? And then what it does is separates us as a culture, as a society, as a human race. So now I'm living in this way, right, as a kid, and I didn't have a mentor, so I had to pull myself out of that mentality, break all those habits that I was embedded in since I was a kid, and it took years. It didn't all go away. I used to say the N word every day for every sentence. Like, it's not even, you could say it's a noun, an adjective, you could name it everything, because that's a part of how we were raised to speak. And it's not like I'm disrespecting the people I grew up with, because they the ones that also said the word with me, endearment, in a positive way. But again, as I got older, it's like, what? There's people who are really hurt by this word and feel offended. I'm going to try to not say it. And I completely cut it off as I got older, now that I'm a little bit older. And the point behind that is that, like, I'm learning these things as we go in life. And then you got the youth who get put in this circle, and then they don't have a mentor. They don't have nobody to culture them. And it's like, oh, well, you sold out, right? So for example, I done changed my ways. I go back to the hood now. Oh, man, you sold out, bro. What you doing, man? Yo. And the mentality is like, yo, you sold out. Let's say, I'll give you an example. I'm not a millionaire at all. But let's say if I won millions of dollars or earned millions of dollars, however, I became a millionaire. I come back to oh, man, you sold out, man. You don't care about us. You don't want to. Okay, what you want me to do? Live in the projects forever? It's not like if they would have won money and stood in the projects also. So now it's not about leaving the projects. You can still give back to the projects, invest and do charity events and things like that, community events for your culture, for where you were raised. Never forget who you are. But in reality, you want to try to expand and get better, and then provide better for those who are still stuck in that circle. So for me, you look at all of these aspects and you think about what are the dynamics on how can I change my society. And it doesn't take much, man. My first podcast, which was 7 days ago, I was talking about you being a revolution, to self-reflect and change who you are, your habits and your routines and your patterns. And today I'm basically talking about it again when I talk about your culture. Do it for the culture. For the culture. You do it for the culture, right? You're so cool. But in reality, the culture is you, inside of you. So however you live, that's what determines the outcome. So for example, they have the saying, take the hood out the nick, but can't take the out the hood. No, I'm sorry. Take the nick out the hood, but can't take the hood out the nick. And I just said it backwards earlier. But so basically, you can't take the hood out of somebody, no matter how far off the ghetto they are. And in a sense, it can be true, but it's also a lie, because I have been taking out a lot of my hood ways. Just talking habits that I would use, just routine words that I might say, like the N word or cursing a lot for no reason. It's like you can't talk without adding a curse, because then it doesn't mean anything. That's how the culture breeds you. So all that said, you got to look within yourself, and it's not about the hip hop. That's my lifestyle and the way I was raised. But it can be about that one guy who just did his life right. He went to school, he went to college, and he got his little job. But guess what he's doing? He's too comfortable. He got his job, he gets an apartment, doesn't have a house, he rides the bus, or he lives with his mom, or something in that sense, and that is fine. I'm not here to down talk anybody, but guess what? You're too comfortable. If you don't have your own house and your own business, or you don't have something you're running or projects, then you need to stop what you're doing, whatever it is every day, and start making some moves and get out there and shake up your life. If you got to quit your job to find another job and to do something, guess what? I'm sorry. Take the chance. Take all the chances you can while you can, and try to make as many moves as you can, because life is too short to wait until you're like 50 and be like, oh man, I should have done music because I'm a musician, or I should have done this or that because I love it and I never got to, and I just work this regular job. Yeah, I've been here forever, and yeah, I go on my vacation once a year, and yeah, I get health benefits, which is great, but I never really got to do anything I was passionate about. And you can't live like that. You got to go for yours. And the reason why isn't just for you. It's for the people around you, because you'll inspire them. You'll inspire them to want to change and do more and say, you know what? I've been chilling out too, and I'm watching John or Bob or Kevin or Malik. I'm watching him. He's doing different things. He's trying. He's making moves. I should do my thing. Now you inspired somebody else by you trying to live your dream and follow your goals and do what you want to do. You follow me? So that right there is a reality about your personal mentality and your habits and routines and patterns. And I'm the one to talk because I have minds that I still do. And I've been breaking a lot of them and changing them, and reevaluating how I act, how I talk, the way I think, the way I feel. I love doing that. I'm a very deep, inner, looking deep within myself. And I'm happy with that. And I always happy to take feedback from people when I'm not doing right, when I'm saying something crazy or whatever I'm doing. It's cool, man. Teach me. Because guess what? Life is short, and I'd rather learn now than wake up one day like, oh my God, I can't believe I was doing that. Simple stuff, man. How you treat other people. How you react to things. When big problems come your way, do you overreact and the world's gonna end? Things like that. Everyday patterns. You spend 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day on the phone just talking about the TV show or talking about something, and that's fine, but you could have cut that phone call 30 minutes early, an hour early, and spend that hour on a hobby that you would like to do, or finding a new job that you really need because your current job doesn't have benefits, or it doesn't have the right pay that you need to excel, or it's not in the field that you want to be in. You follow me? So your culture keeps you restricted. Like, okay, I'm stuck in this mentality and this lifestyle and this format, and I'll explain a story. When I was almost 20, in my teenage years, I started going to a church. And what the most important part about the church wasn't the church and the whole pastor praying or preaching or any of those aspects. The point of that was being cultured, being around people who want to better themselves, trying to better myself in different ways. I started rocking for the first time in my life. I used to rock hoodies, Timberlands, baggy jeans. This is the 90s, 2000s, the 90s and 2000s, in between there. I'm talking about straight up ghetto. Timberlands and baggy jeans every day, even in the summer sometimes. So you're talking about a hood dude rocking a tie, a three-piece suit type of, a blazer, a tie, shirt with some nice pants and some nice shoes. Everywhere I went, when I stopped at a store, people treated me and looked at me differently. But I still was like, yo, what's up, man? What up, B? It's good with you, man. We out here chilling, riding, bowling, you know what I mean? You heard? Yeah. So that was my lingo. without the curses, of course. But that's my lingo, and ain't nothing wrong with that lingo. But the point is that watching people react to me because of my visual differences said, okay, people are showing some respect. Now, of course, you can look at the other side and say that's people being racist or being discriminatory. Did I just make up a word? No, but in the end of the day, I also fed that by doing that. So now it's like, okay, are the people wrong wanting the ghetto to stop being ghetto, or is the ghetto wrong for wanting to stay ghetto? And this is where do it for the culture, for the culture, for the culture. Like, okay, I get $1 million. I'm gonna come back to the hood, buy a platinum chain and a freaking $7,500 car. So now I don't have no money, but I got a dope car and a platinum chains and all this stuff, which I had owned some platinum chains in my lifetime for no reason. I can't tell you one reason why I had that chain. It was a big, thick platinum chain. Other than showing off, you know, and that's a terrible, terrible decision I made. But the point behind it is, this is for the culture. I'm doing it for the culture. Riding around with these crazy rims in a pothole city with these sick rims that cost me thousands of dollars, man. What was I thinking? And I'm just driving around slow everywhere. Take me half hour to get somewhere because I don't want to mess up my rims. This is just the truth. So you're looking at all that side of it and you're like, damn, what I gotta do, right? And the point behind that is, that's for the culture. I didn't gain anything out of that. Oh, yo, he the man, yo. He the man. Mag's the man, bro. So what? You think I do it for you to give me that small props? You know? And it took years of being a child and childish. But those are the type of things that for the culture gives us, and then it segregates us from reality. Reality is, I could have took that money from the platinum chains, the rims, and the cars, and the way I lived, and bought a complex. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. I mean, I made really good money at one point, and it's gone because I wanted to do it for the culture, right? I got a lot of good stories, a lot of great things, and good memories. You know, good items and stuff. Like, oh, look at this, man. This cost me. But I could have just had a complex or something. You know, could have bought a yacht. I could have bought a whatever. And the point behind that is that instead of thinking of that, thinking of like, yo, you know what? I just want to fix my credit and have the best credit ever so I can open up 500 businesses and make a franchise in this joint. Instead, it's like, let me go get this platinum chain and spend crazy paper on this thing, you know. So this is the mentality. So it's like, oh man, why you tripping, you know. So now I'm at the point myself, when I get to the point where I'm a millionaire, I'm gonna rock regular clothes. I'm willing to rock, I'm not gonna rock it, but rock some fake jewelry. I'm not even gonna rock jewelry, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a millionaire right now, so what is the point? So this is where, you know, the preaching of what I'm saying is for the culture. And look at yourself. And I just gave you a story about me personally, but then you can turn it up into the rich folks and then look at them and then look at their side of things, right? So the ungrateful nature is exactly what I was saying earlier, is I'm spending all this money on things. We both buy shoes, and you spend $700 maybe or something like that on your shoes, and I spend $90 or maybe 100. It's pretty much the exact same shoe, except you paid more for yours. Same material, same everything. And I've seen it with these imitations that pretty much do the exact same thing. Now, I'm not telling you to go and rock imitation, and now we're gonna have that discussion of, oh well, you gotta rock the official. It's like, all right, so I don't got a lot of money right now, right? I'm not a millionaire, so when I go and buy a TV, I'm thinking what I need. I need a 4K HDR 10 with super sampling swagger. Whatever I need to do, that's it right there. That's all I need. But then if I'm a millionaire, I'm like, you know what? I need a 20K TV thinner than a piece of paper that I can unfold and open up and take with me to this thing. And I'm never gonna take it anywhere. But I just spent 50,000 on a TV just so I can say I got it. And I've been in that place where I've done that. So as a rich man, you're talking the ignorance of being ungrateful and not utilizing your things and being appreciative. And then guys like Akon, you guys might know who he is and might not. He's not somebody to go Google or anything crazy. He's just a music artist who came to a point in his life where he told a story recently that he had all these jewelries and all this stuff. And then he went to Africa and seen what they're living like, and he just sold all this stuff and been doing charity work and trying to help build everything over there. And I just completely respected this dude. I thought his music was It's like, oh, that's not bad. He got a couple good songs. It's a decent artist. And he's a decent artist, but he's not the top tier greatest artist that I would listen to at all. I never listened to his album before. I would listen to a song or two that he would make. But the moral behind what I'm saying is that his belief is what is really going on. And now I share that with you guys because I think it was a powerful message from him. Like, the interview was like, hey, da da da, where's your jewelry? This is how it came up. They were interviewing him about stuff, and he's like, the interviewer's like, where's your jewelry, man? You always got that watch and them chain, and all this crazy stuff. And Akon's like, man, and he explained his story, how he's seen all that, and he said, I can't do this no more. I can't be this type of guy. And I thought it was so powerful, and I think the world needs to hear that because it's very simple, And before that, I was preaching that to my people, but nobody want to listen to some guy who isn't a millionaire, right? Like, even now, if you're listening, God bless you, man. But I'm rich in the heart, rich in the mind, rich in the spirit. So I'm a billionaire. I have quadrillions of dollars in my heart and mind, in my view. But in the end of the day, you look at that and you got to realize what type of man are you? What are you doing with yourself? So there's two sides to it. It's like, if I'm not rich right now and I'm like, oh, I need to get a PS4 Pro, I need to get a 4K TV, I need to buy me this and that, I'm gonna buy 70 games a year, I'm gonna spend, that's like $10,000. If you add up all of it together, you got at least 2,000 just for, or I'm sorry, probably like 4,000, 5,000 for a good TV and a PlayStation 4 Pro. I'm not telling you not to get one. Hey, do what you want to do. But the reality is, I'm pretty sure you don't have the highest credit, right? Or I'm pretty sure you have something that you need for the future. Your car's old already, and you should be saving to buy a new one. Or I'm pretty sure if you're young, you're gonna go to college, and guess what? It's expensive. It ain't free. Sorry to break the news, unless you got a scholarship, a full scholarship. So all of these things, you got to start being real. Now, if you're rich and you're spoiled and you got all the money, you got to be realistic also and say, damn, do I need to go? Dad, you got to give me $20,000 so that I can go on vacation for a day. You don't need $20,000 for a vacation. That's a lot. Couple thousand maybe. To go comfortably. In any vacation I would go to, spending like 3,000 is just about the max. Like, I go to LA, I spend a good 1,000 on renting a hotel for a week, maybe 1,000 or some and some change. if that, then the flight is another $700. And then you want to spend some money, so that's another thousand. So that's like $3,000. So you understand? So if I want to bring a little extra, cool. But that mentality, and it's just with video games, since I'm doing video games stuff, and we're talking about it. The reality is, video games do that to us. The consumers do not want you to wake up from reality and say, I don't need to spend my money on this. I can't. Even though it's going to be a fun game and I love it, I'm hyped up. Guess what? They're going to let you become a zombie and be a consumer. That's all you are. So now you want to. That's why I tell people, buy games that you really appreciate and you're really excited for. Don't just get them because it's a hype moment. And I'm a gamer and I got a gaming site, so my job is to promote these things. But in the end of the day, like I said, know your worth, know what you need to do, and don't worry about what you want all the time. Focus on what you need, because what you need will help you get all that you want. Once you're done with all what you need, then you're fully satisfied. That's like right now, if I gotta go eat, right? I'm hungry right now. I don't need to eat snacks right now. I need to go eat a meal that's gonna fill me up. After I eat the meal, which is my needs in life, I need to eat the meal. After I eat the meal that has all the proteins, minerals, micro nutrients, and all that. After I eat that, then I can say, let me indulge in some dessert here and eat a cake, some ice cream, or something small that, not too much though, but something that I want. You follow me? And that's where our mentalities are wrong, whether you're rich or poor, for the culture. Oh man, I gotta get that game because all my friends are getting it, I can play with them, or I gotta get that game so I can stream it and people could watch me, or I gotta you just watch the trailer and you're overhyped, and that's okay. Like I said, man, I get hyped for games too. I'm a victim. I have a video game site right now, so I tell you guys all this because growing up, I didn't have anybody to tell me messages like this, so I try to share some of it with you. And the culture is real, and this is something that lives with us every day. And it's on you, man, to get to that place where you can see all that and you can stop yourself from doing certain things. Like there's games like Final Fantasy that I felt like buying this year, and I was like, oh my god, that game, I never played any of them, this looks so much fun, and I never got it, but I don't miss it. I think about it once in a while and say, damn, I should get that game. But in reality, I'm not missing anything, man. I got my 2 kids, I got my mother, my sisters, I got my team for my site, I got people who show me love and support in social media, I got everything I need. You know what I mean? And the wants are cool and they're good to have, but they're not the key. So again, for the culture, is about for yourself. Start thinking about you. Really, like, forget about the culture, because you get in. What I mean by all this, and where I'm wrapping it up with that, is I'm putting it all into one bun of the culture. Saying I do it for the culture is basically saying that they control the way you think and the way you need to be. Whether you're rich, you're poor, whether you're white, you're black, you're doing it for the culture. You're being shaped by that. So for example, I'm a Latino who was born in America and raised in America, in the most American places, which is New York City and Boston, Massachusetts. I spent my whole life there. A little bit of time in LA for a year and a half, but most of my life, 35 years to be exact, that I've lived, I spent it in New York and Boston. And watching whites and blacks, white people be racist, then watching blacks be racist, and watching society feed into all of this the way it does, it is so frustrating because I get to see it from a real perspective. I don't see it offended. You know what I mean? I don't see it like, oh my god, they're offending me. Like and then start getting angry about it or feeling frustrated. I don't. I look at it from a human side, and I feel bad for both sides because the what I say, the avalanche has already taken place. If you ever watch an avalanche on TV, Google one right now while we talk. If you're on a PC, if you can Google it and listen to me at the same time, then Google an avalanche and then think about racism and think how it all started from one snowball fight, one snowball, and it turned into that huge avalanche. And we're in the point now in society where the avalanche is just tumbling down the whole world, tumbling the whole world down. People's mentalities, you know, white people can't even say the word black without feeling like they're being racist. Black people can't hear you talk comfortably without getting offended. And it's a really sensitive world, and issues are thicker than ever. But in reality, the problem is our mentalities. It's not that it exists. Of course it exists. It's always going to exist. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't like you because of what you say or what you do or how you dress or how you talk, the way you breathe. People could just look at your face and say, ew. And that's fine. But when you create an avalanche of anger and frustrations, and now I throw a punch and hit you or even miss you, you want to swing back like, what the and you want to fight me now, or you want to try to avoid me or whatever. But the point is, it's causing that tension, and now we've already have that avalanche of tension in the air, and it's for the culture because I'm black, so I ain't allowing no white person, oh hell no, you ain't gonna say the word nigga to me, you ain't gonna say, you know, this and that. And then white people defending themselves and dealing with that aggression, now they getting frustrated and they want war. So it's becoming a very terrible mentality in society, and this is about cultures and beliefs, and we have to be stronger as a people and break outside of our cultures, break outside. I don't do it for my culture, man. I'm a hip hopper, and my culture got problems right now. They got mumbling rappers who rap about disrespectful things. You know, we've always had rappers who disrespect women, always had that, but like now I can't even understand what you're saying, and you're still disrespecting women. You're not helping the cause here, bro. You know, so it's like I love all the music as far as like I understand the creativity levels of it. You know, you want to make a little silly song, Asian bad and bougie, booty, you know, and that song is got a dope beat. It's very catchy, but I would never listen to the words in that song. I'm just like vibing, you know. Think some bad and bougie, and it's sad because I'm a hip hopper, and that was the most popular song in the world. You know, took over the globe for a while, but it's a sad ass song to be honest with you. And people were like, "That's the best," and now they grew up in that culture of thinking it's a hot song, and it's a disrespect to what we evolved to. Hip hop is supposed to be about having a message. You know, hip hop is supposed to represent the poor, it's to represent the people going through the struggle, and we're the messengers. That's what hip hop is really was born for, that, and that's what it really is about, poets speaking their minds. You know, hip hop is one of the few music that always talks about politics and society and real issues. That's what's amazing about it. So when you got all these kitty cat rappers with their silliness, it's cool and all to, hey, make your money and all that, but it shouldn't be the most popular. And this is where, again, I do it for the culture. It's for the culture. It's for the culture, man. And this is the mentalities that we're living in. And it's a terrible thing. I'm going to take a drink of water for 1 second there. So for me, you know, I appreciate all music. All music. When I say all, I've listened to the weirdest things from other countries, Indian music, Arabic music, Asian music, These things are weird to me, right? Because I grew up in America, but then listening to them consistently opened me up to different sounds, and you get to really get creative with the way they change their patterns and routines and rhythms, and just overall just sounds. Complete sounds are different. They're used differently, and that opened me up. I'm a musician, right? So that opens me up to create new ideas for my music that's American. Sadly, it's American. But um that culture helps, and this is where our society needs that too. So when I tell you about for your culture, think about how you are, how you grew up. Whether it's, I'm not telling you to rebel against your mother or your father. Be like, oh, I don't want to be like you. I'm not going to follow my culture. You know, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying take all the good from your raising, how they raised you, then take all the good from other cultures and other things, and improve yourself. And like I was saying in my the first podcast about you being a revolution, there is no revolution. You have to be the revolution. What I mean is internally you got to change, and you got to affect the world by just being you, being a good person, doing things for others, trying to help enlighten others. So it's very, very important. But yeah, so that's it for today. I'm going to start cutting down my talk time to like 30 minutes, maybe 40, and then going to do Q&A sometimes, because people tweet me about wanting to talk during the stream. And I know this is a live segment and I should structure it properly, which this week I wasn't planning any of this. None of this is written down. I don't have a script. I wrote For the Culture as a title literally a couple minutes before. I said, you know what, I'm going to talk about culture and how it affects us. Literally, I thought about it just today as I was online messing around on Twitter. So we're going to have a better structure plan, and I'm happy to take feedback. I appreciate everybody that comes out. Once again, this is all about self-evaluation and enjoying life to its fullest. Being cultured in different cultures is mind-blowing. I'm being cultured myself. To close this out, as I told you, I grew up in New York City with a music artist style and living the street life, hip-hop life, making music and all that. And then recently, in the last 2 years, I've been culturing myself. Hip-hop hasn't been as a big influence. Gaming has. Hanging around nerds, something I never did. Finally watching Star Wars, the series. I've never seen it before. I still haven't watched Lord of the Rings or anything crazy, but I've been watching animes, really into those. Pretty awesome. There's so many, like Full Metal Alchemist I just started watching yesterday. So all this stuff I'm just getting cultured to. You know what I mean? I go into E3 or PAX East and hang around these nerdyish people who can't talk regular. As far as like they might have a list, or they're just very shy and it's hard for them to express themselves. And I'm so open and out there compared to them that I'm humbling myself and shutting up and having to learn to just wait. And it's hard because my culture, we grew up talking loud, everybody interrupting, and it's a pretty bad culture. But the point is that hip hop culture is very, very outspoken. So hanging around gamers who are outspoken also, but a lot of them are very shy half the time. And you go to these conferences, you meet these people who are kind of internal, and I'm learning about the culture of gaming and the way people are, whether it's online or when I interact with them. And it's new to me, and it's really new to me. Even though I've been gaming for years, I haven't got deep into the communities face to face in these events and stuff like that. So it's really changing me and making me reevaluate some of my habits and routines. And I like the appreciation level the most. That's what I appreciate about gamers. They appreciate art to another level that I thought I appreciated art because I'm a musician. And I'm like, oh, I love it. I love music. But these guys are on another level with visuals, with everything. So I've been taking it all in and learning from it. and I'm humbled and blessed to be able to have all the opportunities I got, and I continue to strive to do better and to provide more. For example, we went to E3, we did a documentary, we're editing it right now. My dude Dan is the head hole editor for that. I consider him the director. I would say me and him directed it together, but he, was the key cameraman for the documentary. We had another guy named Greg Minnie who helped out with that, and he was great. And I learned a lot from them about film and their passion for it, and their goals. And I just respected them as people geeking out about video games, and they were just excited to do the film. And I was so blessed, and I got that coming up. I got a comic book I'm writing to help with my artists draw the pictures and make this comic come to life. There's a lot of different aspects that we can do to network with each other and build. So I'm blessed and happy, and I'm willing to work with anybody. My site is there, my Twitter's there, everything's there. You might think you're a young kid or something, and I can't do nothing, I don't have no skill. You never know. You might have something useful that you can do for us, whether it's a moderator for a forum or a moderator for a Twitch account. Showing their love and respect is important. That said, speaking of that, we're gonna go ahead and close this out. Find yourself, man. Break off from the cultures that you exist in, and only take the good out of them, and then look at other cultures and just educate yourself in many ways. The resources are there. You just gotta search and search and search. And I thank you for taking your time out. Whether you watch this later, a lot of people watch. Like on my stream, I only get like a couple people. But then later on, people tend to watch. And it's kind of crazy to me because, I'm getting hundreds of people on my YouTube or hundreds of people on Twitch after the fact. And it's interesting because it's like, I thought you really wanted to be a part of it and you just want to chat. You just want to watch what I'm saying and not interact, which these aren't interactive. But I'm going to create a way to make them interactive. And again, thank you for tuning in and rocking out with me. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, whoever's here right now, go right ahead. Let's dive into the last segment of this podcast as I close it out soon. If anything you want to say, I'm reading the statements here about the being at the same point at some point in your life, and then the PS4 Pro and God of War and all these games that you want to get. It's true, man. But it's difficult because it's like, I really want it. I really need it. I need it. You don't need it. You want it. So it's not easy, but it's appreciative that you're open about that and you say it, because there's many people just like you going through that. Me, myself, I go through that, man. I still don't have a PS4 Pro. I play it at a friend's house to review a game or something. And he's kind enough to have me over as long as I let him play the game too sometimes. But this said, it's pretty much just realistic, man. Like, just stay true to yourself, man. And what I tell people all the time is that they need to culture themselves. And what I mean by that is, like, also just look within, man. Take a second. I don't want to start preaching all spiritual here, but meditation. You look into yourself. Take a second. The reason meditation is good because what they make you do is you'll spend 20 to 30 minutes just sitting down. No music, no TV. Close your eyes. And then what happens is in the first 5 minutes, you're just like overthinking. Your brain's going everywhere. And it's a pretty interesting experience, right? Then later, what happens is you actually start to calm all that down, and you start to actually listen to your breathing, and you start to feel your body. For example, your pulse. You can feel your lungs working, the oxygen going in and out, and you can just feel your body in general. And that's what meditation's about. I'm sorry, I'm about to do a meditation class right now, but the point is, that's what meditation is really all about. And I'm not telling everybody to go meditate and be a meditator. I've never meditated. Like I've never done like actual crazy courses for it to the max or anything like that. But like I said, the interest level is there because of understanding yourself and being aware of who you are. You know, and that's where I'm trying to express to you guys, and hopefully I'm doing a good job. So you just self-evaluation, man. Self-evaluation. But it's not an easy thing. Sometimes we get lost in our day. Temptations and struggles and nonsense gets in our way. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because we're human, right? But yeah, that's the message, man. And I appreciate you guys for coming out. Once again, this is Mad Gamer doing a podcast. Today we talked about for the culture, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to make some time. Quick, shorter versions of this. It's gonna be a lot better with some Q&A into it and things like that. So, talk to you later. Take care. Peace, one love. Thank you so much for the love and support. You have been a blessing to me, guys. Peace.